Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chicago Gooner bringing you another Arsenal talk. Of course, the hot topic of the day is, of course, Luis Suarez and his another bite. Probably going to get into some transfer news or links and stuff like that and talk about a couple players near the end here, but I want to get into this Luis Suarez, this whole saga, this whole deal right now. Um, I've been calling him the biter since his bite on Ivanovic, sorry, from Chelsea. Ever since 2 seasons ago. It's been a little bit over maybe a year and a half since that bite, and of course he bites Chiellini on the shoulder during the Italy and Uruguay match. And I was sitting there watching the game, and I was flipping back and forth between Costa Rica and England, and then Uruguay and Italy. And the only reason I was watching the England Costa Rica game is because of Joel Campbell, of course, and then Jack Wilshere was playing. But then once Joel Campbell went off, I just switched over to the Italy Uruguay match because it was still 0-0 in the 79th minute when the bite occurred. When I was sitting there watching it, I just it was kind of funny by the way the angle of the camera was right at first. You could see the biter headbutt. It looked like he was headbutting him. Even that alone, with all of his track record throughout the years, I was still like, God, why is he trying to headbutt him, especially this late in the match? Why are you trying to do that? Which was even shocking. It wasn't shocking, but it was shocking. Thinking that Italy's down to 10 men already. There's only maybe 10 to 15 minutes left in the match, if you can include stoppage time. And I'm just thinking, Jesus Christ, why are you trying to headbutt him? Why are you trying to get yourself sent off? But then, as of course here in the States, as ESPN is covering the World Cup, and as they're showing the replay after replay, finally the commentator said, God, I think he bit him again. And then of course Chiellini was showing his shoulder and stuff like that, and I was just like, oh my God, this is absolutely insane. I cannot believe he did this again, especially on this stage, which is the World Cup, which is the biggest stage with everybody watching, and he's doing this to himself and to his national team. Because the two bites before that he had was one was Ajax, and then the other was with Liverpool, and now he's doing it with his national team. The suspension for the Ajax bite was 6 games. The one with Liverpool was 10 games. FIFA came out today that they're investigating, and they said he will get banned for a minimum of 2 matches for a maximum of 24 months. And to me personally, it's just I think he should get at least 6 months banned from not only international play but domestic play as well, because something's wrong with him, obviously. What goes through your head when you're playing a match, when you're playing any type of sport, and all of a sudden it comes crossing through your head that you're just like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna bite this dude. What kind of fucked up mind do you have to have that just rolls right through your head, and you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna bite this fucking guy. And he did. Chiellini tried to show the bite marks. He had bite marks right on his shoulder. He was trying to flag down the ref, and he did nothing about it. The side judge did nothing about it either, which the side judge had the perfect view, because the ball was basically would it be on the right hand side of Chiellini, of where he was facing. So the side judge had the perfect angle on it, because of course he does the side judges, with not only calling fouls, of course calling offsides. So he has to line up with the ball wherever the ball is at all times. So he had the perfect view of it, and nothing was done. The Mexican referee just turned his shoulder and started running upfield, which is another thing I want to get into as well. But this is his third offense. This is the third time he did this. If this was the first time, it'd be like, even though it's still fucked up that you're trying to physically hurt somebody, this is his third offense. This isn't his first one. If it was his first one, then, chances are he'd probably get banned for the rest of the World Cup, and that would probably be the end of it. Nothing would happen to him as far as domestic leagues go, as far as his play with Liverpool. So what's FIFA gonna do? What's the FA gonna do as well? Do they really want to have? Do they really want this guy to be the poster boy of the Premier League? Do you want this guy to be the poster boy of FIFA? You just can't have that. If you want someone to be your poster boy for a league, your national team, or the world, he's got to be pretty much almost squeaky clean. Of course, Messi isn't exactly squeaky clean because he likes to cheat on his taxes, which is at least here in the United States, that's a federal offense, and he can go, you could probably get about 15 to 20 years in jail for that. But as far as the sport of football, the referee is on the pitch to protect the players. He wasn't protecting the player at all. The one thing I hate too is about not only FIFA but the FA as well for the English Premier League is what happens to these refs when they do not do their job. They don't release any type of statements. They don't release any type of reports whatsoever about these refs. This Mexican referee should never be allowed to referee another sanctioned FIFA competitive match ever again, which includes, the World Cup, CONCACAF, Copa America, maybe the Euro, any type of competitive FIFA event. He should never be allowed to referee another game because his sole purpose on the pitch is to protect the players. Chiellini ripped down his side of his shirt and even tried to show the referee, and he did nothing about it. The side judge did nothing about it either when he had the perfect view of the bite. Because you gotta think too, what happens in that game? At the time of the bite, it was still 0-0. It wasn't until 2 minutes later that Uruguay scored. Italy was down to 10 men already. What happens if Luis Suarez, the biter, gets sent off? What happens to that team? Do they still score? Do they just get completely deflated because their best player just got sent off for another bite? What happens to that game? You almost got to really think that Italy got cheated. Was there a little, this is a South American team, let's send them through type of deal? Or let's give them an edge? We can't send off the so-called maybe poster boy of one of the best players in the World Cup right now. Because plus here in the United States, Liverpool is supposed to be playing in Chicago on, I believe it's July 22nd or something like that. They're supposed to be playing Olympiacos at Soldier Field, and they've been pumping Luis Suarez's name for that game as well. So you got to think that going into this World Cup, that Luis Suarez's name was one of the poster boys of this World Cup because he is considered one of the best players in the world. Because if FIFA doesn't do anything about this, if they don't lay the hammer down on this, how many more times is he going to go out there and injure somebody? Or try to injure somebody? Because that's what he's doing. Of course, they're calling this, he's assaulting a player, which is true. He's trying to physically hurt a player on the pitch. It's not like a harsh challenge where a player is trying to slide in for a ball and he misses the ball completely, and he maybe it's like studs up, it goes into a player's knee or a player's shin. Maybe it's a inadvertent elbow when two players are going up at the same time to try to head a ball. This is blatant, right in front of your face. They have pictures, they have video evidence, and on top of it, it's the third time. It's not the first time, it's not the second time, it's the third time that this has happened. Because this is all psychological. The 10-game ban that the FA handed down to Luis Suarez for last season was for him to learn from his mistakes, to get psychological help, to try to help himself to be a better player, and to be a better player on the pitch, and not trying to go out there and physically hurt somebody. And that, of course, that's what he did. So FIFA really has to step up their game here and really show that they have to show the world, because of all this crap that's going on right now with the Qatar World Cup in 2022, and FIFA's really showing themselves of how corrupt they are. So they really need to come down on this hard. I think there was a player that back in I think it was like the '08 Olympics, that spit on a referee, a Chelsea player actually, that spit on a referee, and he got a 1-year ban for spitting on a referee. So does this call for a 1-year ban? Possibly. I think at minimum he should get at least 6 months ban from not only international play but domestic play as well. Because you need to send a message. You need to send a message not only to the fucking player, but you need to send a message to the rest of the world saying, we will not tolerate this. Not only the referee is supposed to be on the field protecting a player, but FIFA is also supposed to be there to protect the players as well. Because if he gets some light type of ban like the rest of the World Cup, and that's it, how many more times is this guy going to do this? Because something's not ticking in his head. And on top of that, what's the FA going to do? Do they really want this type of player in their league? Do they really want this type of player to be a poster boy for, one of the more prestigious clubs? Of course, too, you got to look at it too. What's Liverpool going to do? After the bite against Ivanovic, you kind of saw Steven Gerrard, Brendan Rodgers kind of sweep it under the rug a little bit and defend him over and over and over again. Oh, he'll never do this again. He's a changed man. He represents Liverpool and you should support him and blah blah blah. If they say that this time, they look like fools right now. Brendan Rodgers, Steven Gerrard, anybody that came out and tried to support Luis Suarez after that second bite looks like fools right now. Because he lost his fucking marbles again. And he went out and bit somebody on the biggest stage in the World Cup. This is going to leave a skid mark on this World Cup now. This World Cup has been the best World Cup that I've ever seen. And I've been basically watching the World Cup since about 98, 94. I watched a little bit of 94, but I was just too young to really understand it and stuff at that point. But I've been really watching, I could say, about 2002. And it's going to leave a nasty mark right onto it. And it's been a great World Cup. It's been fun to watch. Every single game's been fun to watch. Except for, I mean, I don't know how fun the Costa Rica-England game was today, but 0-0 draw. I mean, that was kind of, that was nothing to look at. But, you know, 99% of the games have been just fun to watch. And you just don't want to miss a single second of any game. But this alone is going to leave a skid mark on this World Cup because of what happened. And on top of it, being in Brazil, being in South America, having Uruguay being a neighboring country of Brazil. And of course the Brazilian or the Uruguayan manager comes out and says, oh, that was nothing. Some of these people need to get some, they need to get a psych test or something too, because, the video evidence is there, the photographic evidence is there. So FIFA really needs to come down on this. And not only do they need to come down hard on Luis Suarez, but they need to come down on the Mexican referee and the side judge. I don't know if it was a full Mexican refereeing crew or official crew, because they should not be allowed to ref another sanctioned FIFA match ever again. Because even, of course everybody saw the replay, Chiellini's ripping down his shirt, trying to show the referee, trying to show the side judge, and nothing's done about it. And they're on the pitch to protect the player. So if FIFA wants to send a message to the world saying that we care about the player, we care about this competition, but not only this competition, but we care about all competitions as far as English Premier League, La Liga, League One, Bundesliga, Serie A, all the leagues in the world, saying that we will not tolerate this. We will not tolerate this type of action. So I think at a minimum, he should be banned for at least 6 months. Maybe 6 months to a year. I know some people are saying, well, that's kind of harsh. Yeah, it would be harsh if it was a first-time offense. But this is the third time. And again, how many more times is this going to happen? This is back-to-back years that has happened. This is the third time in 4 years that it's happened. So FIFA really need to send a message. If this happened only in the English Premier League, chances are only the English papers would continue to talk about this 2-3 days later. But this is the World Cup. You have every news outlet in the world in one place. But then again, you look at FIFA and you look how corrupt they are and how much power they have, especially over the media, that it's unfortunate that this thing could possibly be swept under the rug, which it shouldn't happen at all, because it needs to be harsh. Whatever the suspension is, whatever the ban is, it needs to be harsh, and it needs to send a message saying that we're trying to do the right thing. So let me know what your comments are about that. But I'm going to get into a little bit of Arsenal talk here, and talk about a little bit of the links. I mean, I know I haven't done this in about a week or so, but just because, I mean, the World Cup's been going on, it's been so great to watch, and right now links are just links. Nothing's going to be concrete, of course, as I said in my last Arsenal talk, that Christmas basically comes on July 1st. That's when the Puma deal comes into effect. The only real name that seems to have legs, and it continues to have legs, is Mario Balotelli. And of course, the Milan, I don't know if it was the president or CEO, came out and said that no one's irreplaceable, and we're willing to talk about selling Balotelli. Which is, that basically tells you right there that, he's going to be goner. He's going to be a goner. which is fine by me. I mean, I would love him at Arsenal. But one thing about the Balotelli links, it just doesn't go away. He's been linked with Arsenal for about the last 3 weeks solid. Usually when someone's linked to a certain team, it usually lasts for about a day or two, maybe 3 days, and then the link dies off, and then they bring in a new player that's linked with a certain team. But this has been solid for 3 weeks now. And I'm sure Puma is trying as hard as they can because Balotelli is one of Puma's poster boys. Cesc Fabregas was one of their poster boys too, but then Arsenal said no to him. So I really think possibly on July 1st, maybe even July 10th, when the new kits are finally released, that Balotelli will be an Arsenal player. That's just my opinion. Just from seeing all the links and seeing how things are being sent out through the media. And of course you have the Milan president saying no one's irreplaceable. Even though he's your best player on the team. Which is kind of funny. Another link that just happened. He's kind of been linked for the last couple weeks, but the links are pretty strong now, is Alexi Sanchez. Which now, this is kind of scary. This kind of goes back to Higuain last year. That deal was almost done for Arsenal, for him to come to Arsenal. That deal was it was probably as close as a signature on a contract. That's how probably close it was. And of course, last summer, right at that second that we were going to sign Higuain, Luis Suarez, the biter, becomes available. Now let me go back to Suarez thing. Any Arsenal fan, even before this, that wanted Luis Suarez on Arsenal, you should be ashamed of yourself. Because this guy, he's a biter, of course. He's a cheater and a racist. I don't care how good of a player you are. No one in their right mind should want that on Arsenal. And people should be ashamed of themselves to want that on Arsenal. Because I'm sorry, I'm not that desperate to win. I'd rather go through 10 more years of a trophyless 10 years than have that guy on our team. And for me to try to root for someone like that because I couldn't do it. I don't care how good of a player is. It's not worth it. I'm not that desperate for my favorite club in the world to win, or to win a trophy, or to win a league, or to win Champions League. It's not worth it. Because to try to root on that sick son of a bitch is not worth it. It might be worth it for Liverpool fans. I mean, it's pretty obvious. You just look on Twitter and Liverpool fans are trying to defend Luis Suarez, which is ridiculous. That's how desperate they are. That's how desperate Liverpool is right now to get back up on top. But Liverpool's so fucking stupid that they don't realize at some point they're going to come back up on top. Just like with Arsenal. At some point, we're going to be back up on top. All it takes is time. All it takes is the right mesh of players. And a little bit of luck. But to go back in the Alexi Sanchez stuff, kind of goes back, like I said, to Higuain and Suarez deal from last year. Does this kind of sidetrack the Balotelli deal? Because you don't know what position that Alexi Sanchez wants to play. Because just like with Lucas Podolski, when he came to Arsenal, he was a center forward when he came to Arsenal. And of course, Arsene made him into a left winger, which he normally plays on in the national team, which is his better position, in my opinion. But with Alexis Sanchez, he is versatile, so that he can play the striker role and the winger role. And talking to some Barca fans, He said the only reason that Alexi Sanchez does not play striker is the sole fact is because Messi's there. And of course that's a good reason. I mean Messi's the best in the world, so why would why would you swap him? But then he has that versatility to play on the wing. But does Alexi Sanchez want to play striker? And he would be freaking amazing at striker with Arsenal. Considering you'd have Walcott on the right side, you have Ozil line up right behind him, and then you would have who knows on the left side. I mean, you'd have Podolski, you'd have Santi, you'd have you could have the Ox, you could have the emergence of Joel Campbell right now, which I think has blocked any kind of deal that we might have had with Loc Remy, because Loc Remy was going to be that striker, winger, versatile player that we might have got in this transfer window. And I think Joel Campbell has blocked any type of deal that we might have had for Remy, because Joel Campbell is showing that he can play with the best. He's gone up against England, he's gone up against Italy, and he's gone up against Uruguay. And he's looked really good. Of course, he scored against Uruguay in the first game. He looked solid, and he was creating chances. He was creating stuff for he should have got a penalty in the Italy game, which was never called. Again, shitty refereeing. And he even looked good against England. He was causing havoc to the point where that back four of England had no idea what was going on. He's strong, he's fast, he's still a little bit raw in his decision making, but being with Arsene and his staff and of course those players, I think he'll catch on real fast. But as far as Alexi Sanchez goes, what is his preferred position? What does he want to play? Does he want to be still stuck on the wing, or does he want to play striker? That's the thing that's going through my mind right now. What is Arsene telling him? What is his, what does he want to play? Is Arsene going to promise him the striker position? Which is a very good possibility. And if Arsene does promise him that striker position, we might be seeing Alexi Sanchez in an Arsenal shirt next season. Because as great as Barca is, as great as a club is, as many world-class players they have, sometimes those class players, they get sick of being told, especially on Barca, that they're nothing without Messi. Some players are sick about hearing about that. And great thing about Alexi Sanchez, he's a lot like the Ox, in my opinion. He likes to take on defenders. His finishing is amazing, in my opinion. I mean, he's not like the Ox on that. He's an amazing finisher. When you give him just a little bit of space, I mean, you could see some of his finishes this past season, or if you just give him a half an inch, kind of like Lucas Podolski, he's gonna put it on target or score. So that's a possibility. That's been one link that's been happening over the last few days, because supposedly Arsene Wenger has met up with his agent and the player, supposedly, and talked to both in the last few days. And a lot of other stuff, Serge Aurier, that type of stuff, that's kind of calmed down over the last few weeks still, but there's a lot more noise that Serge Aurier will most likely be an Arsenal player, because we hear a lot of other teams that are interested in him, but he keeps on saying that he only wants to play for Arsenal, and that's it. And if you look at our links to right backs, we have no other links. We have that link with the a right back for Schalke. He is a Japanese player who is awful. If he becomes an Arsenal player, I'll just be like, uh, what the hell are you doing? And plus, I think with the lack of links to right backs this summer so far, you have to think that Serge Aurier and Carl Jenkinson will be battling out for that starting position. As much as people want to see Carl Jenkinson be put out on loan to get some experience in, I, I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to be the second choice right back still. He might be even the first. I think Arsenal's going to give him that shot because there's just no other links. As far as wingers go, Di Maria popped up over the last couple of days saying he doesn't know where he's going to play next year. I think that's a bunch of BS. I think he just wants new paper with Real Madrid. I mean, when you win the Champions League and all that type of stuff, and when you know your club is, littered with money, he wants new paper. He saw that, CR7 got new paper last year. They brought in Bale, who's making a ton of money. He's seeing all the reports from, links to Suarez, Falcao. I think Aguero was linked to Real Madrid at one point, and they're throwing out what their weekly wages might be, to like saying 300,000 a week to 350,000 a week. So he's seeing all this stuff, and all he's trying to get is new paper, especially with Karim Benzema. That deal is basically almost done anyway. All they're going to do is talk about it after World Cup. I think Real Madrid want 2-star strikers going into next year. It'll be Benzema, and it almost sounds like Falcao now is the guy they're going with instead of Suarez. And the stuff with Suarez too, Barcelona has been, looks like has almost been leading for Suarez rather than Real Madrid, and I think that deal is just dead now. Any deals for Suarez are pretty much dead now. Because if you try to look at Barcelona, Barcelona is not a squeaky clean club, but they try to act like it. And same with like Real Madrid and stuff, and they don't want that kind of trouble. All that Luis Suarez was doing this past season was trying to better his image, so that Barcelona and Real Madrid would come after him. And of course they were. I think those deals are completely dead now with his actions throughout the World Cup, and on top of it, the possible ban that he's going to get from FIFA. Other links got the defensive holding midfielder role it's kind of like a mystery right now. It's something we desperately need. Other than striker and right back. That's something that we desperately need. Sami Khedira's name has been floating around a lot. He seems like to be the number one target right now. The Bender boys from Germany seem to be targets early on, but they're, nothing has really been said about them because they're not playing in the World Cup either. So things seem to be a little light there. Luis Gustavo's name has been thrown out there among the media, but that was a regurgitated news from last season. We were after him, and he didn't want to come to Arsenal because he didn't want to compete for a job. He wanted to be guaranteed first team minutes, which Arsenal, unless you're a world class player like Mesut Ozil, he would never tell a player, yes, you're guaranteed first team minutes. So I don't think Luis Gustavo's name, I don't think he'll be coming to Arsenal at all. I think that's just a news outlet from last year that the media is trying to regurgitate because they know that Arsenal need a defensive holding midfielder. and it seems like Real Madrid is willing to let Sami Khedira go. There's some kind of crazy report right now that Manchester United are willing to offer 40 million euros for Sami Khedira, which is insane. I think that's more money that I heard for Javi Martinez from Bayern Munich. I heard his price tag was somewhere closer to like 30 million pounds and 40 million euros. I mean, I think Javi Martinez is a lot better than Sami Khedira is at present. Sami Khedira is really good. I think he's a world-class holding midfielder, but I think I would rate Javi Martinez a lot higher than Sami Khedira. But if those reports are true that Manchester United are willing to pay 40 million euros for him, fuck that. I'm sure we can find just someone just as good, or possibly even better. Maybe Javi Martinez will still be on the radar, but it doesn't seem like it would be. I think it would be stupid for Bayern Munich to sell him off unless Javi Martinez is excuse me, unless he's unhappy and he wants first team minutes, which he's really not getting too often at Bayern Munich. So there's a lot of names out there, but Sami Khedira seems to be the top go-getter as far as holding midfielders is. But of course, what's going to be the price tag? And of course, Manchester United, I mean, they don't have Champions League football next year. Arsenal does. Is Sami Khedira going to look at that instead of Manchester United and say, well, fuck that, I don't want to go to Manchester United. I want to play in Champions League. So if Arsenal threw out, say, 20 million pounds for him, we might have a player there. And I know a lot of people are kind of, Sami Khedira hasn't been at his best in this World Cup. Of course, he just got off his ACL injury, and he's still trying to get match fit, in my opinion. I think once he, trusts his knee again, once he trusts his legs again, once he gets back to full power, I think that's when you'll see Sami Khedira be great again. So who knows? I would, I'm just waiting for July 1st, to be honest with you, and see what kind of rabbits they pull out of the hat on July 1st, because I honestly believe on July 1st we might hear at least one or two names being mentioned or being said they signed. And I can see it being Mario Balotelli on July 1st. Because if you go to the Puma Twitter page, I mean, they are responding back to Arsenal fans left and right on that page. And they keep on saying, like I said in my last Arsenal talk, that we have something special going on for you. Just wait and see what we have for you. So they're dropping a lot of hints while Arsenal is continuing to be silent. They're dropping hints more than Arsenal is. So maybe that's the way Arsenal is going to talk right now. Maybe through Puma. Who knows? But July 1st is hopefully going to be Christmas for Arsenal fans. And of course, the new kits drop and all the merchandise drops on July 10th. So that's the day that we're going to have to really look at. And, of course, the World Cup ends on July 13th. So that's when everything's going to be going hot and heavy, basically. I mean, that's when you're going to see all the big clubs starting going after players left and right. And, you're going to see no-name players going left and right as well. And you're going to see some ridiculous price tags, I think, being thrown out there. So hopefully in a few days time, actually, it's about 5-6 days away. So it should be a good day, hopefully, on July 1st. Hopefully I wake up on July 1st to see that we have at least one player signed on that day, which I think we do. Whether it be Serge Aurier or Mario Balotelli or something, or somebody. So it'll be great to see that Arsenal is doing what they're supposed to be doing. So um, this will be the end of the Arsenal talk for now. If you have any comments, questions, or anything, leave them down below. I'll try to get to them. And enjoy the rest of the World Cup. Let's see, the knockout stages start on Saturday, so looking forward to that. Looking forward to the group stages to finish up as well. So should be a good one. All right, later.